Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse pregame show with my good friends Stephen Fox and Quis of Sports Vibes TV. Welcome, guys.
Welcome. Hope all is well. Salute to
How's it
you.
going, guys?
Salute to
How's
the
everything?
chat. Salute to the SV Nation. Salute to the Knicks-Verse fam. Salute to everybody. Can't wait for our game tonight.
Holy shit! I have to mute. I had it open on my other monitor, and then I started hearing us saying exactly what we just said, like on a 10-second delay. And I was like, "Well, what's going on?" All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I believe we already have 2 people watching. All right. Hey, man, this is a big game. Big game tonight. Let's just start off with how are you guys feeling about what we just saw the other night against the Nets? Steven, let's go with you first.
Hey, they're a very good team. I think that we got to think positive. There's a lot of positives that we can take from that game. You know, Burks, we had 27 assists, which is a revelation with this team. So we only had 10 turnovers. And also we held them to 28%, 29% 3-point shooting. Randall, got to give him some props. What he did, KD didn't hit a 3-pointer. He shot 9 for 23. So, Harden exploded in the first half, only 6 in the second half. So I think there are a lot of positive things we can take into this game.
All right. And Keith, how about you?
Yeah, Foxy touched on a lot of it. We had 27 assists, so that was definitely a plus. You saw more ball movement with Alec Burks inserted into the starting lineup. And defensively, I think we were solid. You saw that defensive intensity that we had last season. And if you look at the box score, we really didn't allow anybody to go off outside of James Harden and Kevin Durant. And I think that's the game plan. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Some people might have blamed the refs. Some people might blame Julius Randle's tech. But I look at it as, we went up against the best team in the West and they kind of ran us off the court. But now we went up against the best team in the East and it was a highly competitive game. So that, I think, right there is progress, and we'll build upon it. I think it was a good effort for this team, especially heading into this big game tonight.
Awesome. I agree. I agree with both of you guys. It was I did a pretty long recap the other night on it, and then I had problems getting it live and everything. So that was kind of a shame. I don't know if I don't think a lot of people got to see it. But one thing that I kind of glossed over in it, and I think we should definitely you guys actually already mentioned it, was Julius Randle, man. He actually had the problem was that the complaining about the fouls and getting the tech overshadowed what a tremendous game he had. He really looked like the all NBA version of Julius. And in some ways, the first time we've seen it this season in terms of both ends of the floor. I mean, his defensive intensity was there. There was none of that kind of like his hands hanging down and kind of like, well, I'm not going to quite get there, so why bother? Kind of, I've noticed some of that with him. Not the other night against the Nets. He was reaching. He was trying to disrupt everything. He was playing some great defense in general. And then Harden went off for 28 in the first half, but only got 6 in the second half.
Quickly.
Yeah. Our boy Quick, man. God, I love that kid. Love that guy, man. So you guys feel like the Burks point guard not experiment, the fact he's going to go with it. He's going with this, is what Thib said. How do you guys feel about it so far? And shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. D Nice, Big Task, Lex is there. All right, brother. Thank you for joining us. Geraldine, always appreciate you shouting us out and joining us. And D Nice, and Francis Gogio. All right, thank you. Today is D Rose time. That's right. Today is D Rose time. He's going against his old team. All right, so sorry, I lost track there. Trying to shout out the chat.
Want to take your keys?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, everybody, it's Keith's birthday today. That's right. Keith's birthday.
George,
we'll sing him a happy birthday at the end.
All right, now you're talking.
Thank you guys for the birthday shout out. And, with the Alec Burks elevation into the starting lineup. I think it gives us a familiar feel to last season. And I think last season we did a solid job building a good culture with this team. And as long as our defense stays to that level, I've been saying it, we're going to be able to compete. Yes, in this game, we saw James Harden and Kevin Durant go off. But from the start of the game, I think the defensive intensity was way up. And, you can say that because it's a rivalry game, or you can liken it to, the fact that Alec Burks now being inserted into that starting lineup brings a new energy to that group. So I think Alec Burks was solid. What did he finish the game with? 25, if I'm not mistaken?
Alec Burks finished with 25. You got it.
Yeah, 25
25,
points.
5 and 5.
He was
Yeah,
the leading scorer for both games that he started at point guard.
Yeah, he's definitely made his impact be felt with that starting lineup. So I think if it's not an experiment, all we've seen from that move is nothing but positives. We've seen positives defensively. We've seen positives offensively. Now, Alec Burks is not your prototypical point guard, and it might not look the cleanest out there. It might not look the smoothest with this starting lineup, but it's a lot better than what we've been seeing throughout this season. So I'm fine with the Alec Burks move. I feel like he's been doing a solid job in these last 2 games, and hopefully he'll be able to have the same effect in this game. We're going up against, a team that has, bigger guards out there on the court. So Alec Burks is going to be, I think, important in this game. So with the change, I'm happy with it so far. Hopefully we continue to see it, give us, reap the benefits from it. Hopefully it continues to be a positive move moving forward.
But I love only one
cake.
One turnover. Never enough cake.
Rush.
Never enough cake. Only one turnover, which was huge too. That's what we love, man. In a point guard or anyone on your team, but especially at the point with all that usage, only one turnover. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh man, that's and that's one thing I love about Quic's game. Also, quickly, he doesn't turn the ball over that much either.
No, he has a beautiful assist to turnover ratio. That's something I want our boy RJ to work on. He has like a 1-to-1 ratio. It's something that he needs to pick up this year. In the following games, I hope the kid feels better. We missed him bad. We missed him badly. We
did, and actually, I do think if we had him playing, one of his positive games, doesn't have to have his outstanding games, but like his regular A game, I think we would have won.
He looked better with that second unit, though. He was still under the weather, but I liked what I saw with him when he was playing with that second unit.
He must have really been, not feeling well, because he actually was contributing positively when he was out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that nice little
2
moment.
or 3, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think there's so many positives. Like I said, we didn't have RJ, so it was a valiant effort. And also, our fives were hurting. George, you touched on it. You did a great job on your thing, saying, first of all, Noel looked rusty. And Mitch, he's giving a valiant effort. But folks, I watched that game several times, and the guy's hurting. On that Patty Mills basket at the end of the game that that went in, he couldn't even get off the ground. That ankle, it's like a running back that's on the injured list.
Yeah.
He comes back, he has 3 good rushes, and then on the 4th one, he re-injures that ankle, and he's not the same for the rest of the game. So he's good at the beginning, but you could see he was laboring on that, on the call with Johnson. He couldn't get up vertically. He couldn't do anything. So the poor guy's hurting, and that's why, George and I were speaking, off camera, and we were just saying, we're really surprised that with Sims, that they're hobbling. Why did you send Sims down to the G League or up-level his contract, whatever you have to do? But you had 2 guys hurting, and we still were 2 points away with missing an RJ and really hurting at the 5 position.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Obi only played 12 minmit's.
So, that's a whole other conversation.
We'll get into Obi for sure. One thing I did know, he actually played well in the first half.
Exactly.
So I have a feeling that not only is whatever that the insole that he has in his shoe, maybe over time, as the game goes on, as the evening goes on, it just bothers him more.
Yeah.
So his conditioning isn't quite there yet anyway. So maybe that second half is just, first of all, we got to talk about what happens at halftime. This team, I honestly, I think they have a halftime hangover. They must get in there and do shots and then run out of the court. And they're like, hey, man. And then they finally like, wait a second, we're in a game.
Yeah, we woke up at the end, thank God, of the third quarter, so it wasn't as brutal as it could possibly have been, and the way it started, at least.
Yeah, things were spiraling.
Yeah. Mo EDD asks the insole what? Yeah, he Quis, you know more about the this fracture, so maybe you can explain it to our group here.
I'm not sure about the insole. They gave him a specific insole in order to help.
Yeah, the insole,
orthopedic. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's to stabilize the foot,
so it's not shift. Stability.
Exactly.
So it stays level.
Yeah, but what happens is it makes it stiffer, so you lose spring, which is natural because his foot is still recovering. I mean, this is a very devastating foot injury that he suffered, right, Keith? I mean, I don't really know that much about it.
You're same one Zion's dealing with too, and Zion can't get back on the court.
Did you hear today the news on him? They delayed it again. You were 100% right, Keith. Yeah. Kudos. Yeah, you got to get your props, man. You called that way before everyone.
Yeah. Robert Smallwood asks, is RJ playing tonight? Alder Almo tweeted out, Nerlens Noel with a sore right knee and Jericho Sims' non-COVID illness have been added to the Knicks injury report as questionable. RJ Barrett remains a game-time decision. He is questionable still. So let's hope he can play. I mean, he tried to play last game, and then we heard the kind of rumor that he threw up and he was not feeling well, and so maybe the 48 hours helped him recover enough so that he can play tonight. And he got his hopefully his fluids,
some chicken soup.
Get him some chicken soup. Yeah, absolutely. Get him some Cat's Deli chicken soup.
That's my boy. I love the way he rolls. I'll have the matzo balls and the knish.
Oh,
Thank you.
I miss that. Big time. All right. Before we jump into previewing the game, anything else you guys want to touch on in terms of the last game or the last couple games?
No, just I know it was a very emotional thing with the players. We touched on Obi a little while before that he looked kind of he had words.
Let's talk about Obi.
That when he was walking off the court, he did not like you said. He only had I'll round it off 12 minutes of burn, and he's looking. This is not the first time that him and Tibbs have had some words. So. Hopefully it's nothing, folks, but there's some speculation that maybe that Obi feels that he's getting picked on and Julius can't do anything wrong in Tibbs' eyes. So hopefully it's nothing, folks. But this is like the third time in the last. I said to George off the air, and I didn't bring it up previously because of being an old marketing person. Not getting into isolated data points. It has to be a trend. But a friend of mine that ran the North Carolina office for our company, that I'm good friends with, told me he's always busted my balls because I'm a Knicks fan and he loves the Hornets. And he said, yo, did you see Obi and Tibbs? I'm talking about the November 14th game down in Charlotte. I'm going, what are you talking about? I watched the game. He goes, probably the camera didn't pick it up, but there was some tension between Obi and Tibbs on the bench. And I said, I never saw that. He goes, yeah, man, I was sitting right there. So I'm like, whoa. So then a week or so ago, there seemed when he was walking the sidelines, and then he was much more demonstrative on Tuesday's game. So something's going on there. There seems to be some tension there. It's not just one time, and we saw Rose drawing at Tibbs during the game. So, like I said, I don't know whether the guys are touchy. They didn't like the way Kemba was treated. I don't know, but I think there's some tension there, and I think maybe two cliques: the young guys and the old guys.
I did a little bit of research on that. It was hard to tell if it was a beef with Tibbs or they were both upset about the refs and then they were jawing about it, not necessarily like at each other, but you know what I mean? Like when you're heated and you're like, man, I can't believe that call. And well then, it's, so I don't know it in particular with the Nets game, but maybe, there is some frustration with the rotation, how he's being used, but he did see a little bit of time with Julius. There was a little bit of burn with Julius. Once the game was into that fourth quarter. Like I said in the pregame, in the postgame, I think Thibs, because he didn't, without RJ, there is no 4 other than Obi on this team. So it might have been possible that he wanted to get through 3 quarters and spare Obi as much as possible in case you never know what could happen. So, and Randall was playing very well. So it was just one of those things where unfortunately we were just shorthanded in the wrong positions. So,
it was a weird moment to sub him out too, though, George. Like he was playing solid defense against KD, and KD just hit a shot that there's not.
He does against everybody in the league.
For Tibbs to pull him, I think that really didn't. That was a head scratcher, especially since we were all saying that Mitch started to fade as we got later on into that game. You had a fresh Obi that at the time I think was giving us a lot out there on the court. Julius Randle, he had his defensive intensity up. I didn't think our interior defense was at a level where we had to pull Obi and bring Mitch back into the game. I think Tibbs was a little quick on the trigger, and the fact that it was right after KD scored on Obi, I think the optics of it was just bad, and I can understand why Obi would be frustrated.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to give Thibs the benefit of the doubt here because it could have just not been just that one play. It could have maybe Thibs saw a couple other things, quote, mistakes that Obi may have made. And then that could have just been, finally, he could have been, all right, let's just get him out.
But he had transition buckets. What about the other good things he was doing on the court? He does
great things. I'm not saying it was a good decision. I'm just saying that might be what happened. Let's see. I mean, Thibs is trying. I mean, Thibs has spoken glowingly about Obi this year. He says he's a different player. He's a much better player. I couldn't do certain things last season because Obi wasn't ready that we can do this season, which like small ball and things like that. So he's acknowledging. He said his defense, I can't remember the exact words, but he was speaking very positively about Obi's defense in general this season. So let's hope they work through it, and Obi will see 20, 25 minutes tonight. Has he ever played 25 minutes?
I do not think so.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I got to go to.
Yeah. And it must be tough for Obi because, Obi's playing as good, if not better, than Quick. And Quick is seeing games where he's eclipsing, 25, 30 minutes. So I really understand why Obi's stressing right now. He's a high draft pick, a lot of promise. This is his hometown, his home city. Like he said, he grew up minutes away from the Barclays. And in that moment, your coach is not having their faith in you and pulling you. It's disappointing. Hopefully it doesn't, it's not something that carries over, though. I know, Foxy, you mentioned a few times. Hopefully it's just, these small flare-ups here and there, and it's not something that continues to build.
Yeah, and one of my friends on Twitter said, hey, whether D-Rose and others have commented that Tibbs doesn't mind when guys jaw at him. That's, that was you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I got too many friends.
Foxy got a lot of friends. But it was just me and the Quis, but no.
Oh. No, I didn't say best friends. I said friends. So hopefully it's just guys being competitive, like George said in our conversation, and they're competitive guys. That's part, in the thing of battle, those things happen, but it's forgotten the minute the game's over with. Hopefully.
Yeah, that was from D-Rose. D-Rose, in an interview, he said, I've told the younger guys, when you hear him yelling at you, don't look over. Just raise your hand to acknowledge that it was a mistake, but don't look at him, because then he'll get in, he might unnerve you. He'll psych you out. And the same thing when you go to the bench. There was another time where Grimes, I think it might even have been Obi. It was not, smacking Grimes on the ass as they were going towards the bench. Mm-hmm. And Thibs was like, and they said, smack him, like, keep going, don't even look at him. But then Rose said, however, if he'd let you just be a man and you just talk to him, if you have a disagreement, Thibs is open to hear it. So it's not like it's not a one-way conversation, is what Rose was implying. So
that was a one-way conversation, because the minute Obi said wide, Tibbs turned right around and walked the opposite way. He said, "I'm not here for it. We're in the middle of a big game against the Nets. We're not doing it in public."
Right.
Yeah.
I think he means not. I think he means more like off the court
Behind the
and in
scenes.
practice. Yeah, behind the scenes, not like on the court. There's only one general. You know, you got to follow, or else it's. I mean, that's one thing you heard Fournier in this post-game interview yesterday. He was saying, "Look, it's not up to me. I don't have any, and I don't want to even concern myself with who's starting, who's not starting." Because we're asking him about Kemba and all that. He says it's the coach's decision, and that's it. Like he, you know, and that's the attitude you have to be as a professional athlete, as any athlete, really. You can't be questioning your coach.
Want to hear something bizarre on YouTube yesterday? How they'll just, you know, they go through your preferences, their algorithm, and they show things. So I see this thumbnail of Randall screaming, and I look at the date, and it was him screaming at the refs a year ago, not getting the Kyrie call where he thought Kyrie fouled him. And so it's almost a year later and he's still screaming. I thought it was a shot from the other night of him being upset. It was the same exact, the same nature of him getting upset, but it was a year ago where he thought Kyrie fouled him. So it was like, whoa, that's really bizarre.
Totally. All right, well, let's get into this game, man. We have a this game against the Bulls. I've been looking forward to this one. I was looking forward to the Hawks game, the Nets to some degree, you know, but really the Hawks game and this game, especially for how the Knicks and the Bulls have played in the two previous time, two very close games, both in Chicago. We won the first one, they won the second one. Vooch is back, so he will play. He did not play in the last game versus the Knicks, but he's been playing. He's played the last 4 games. Let's look at some stats here, some comparisons. Let me add this to the stream. Here we go. So these are the season averages. Points per game, 109.1. You know, about almost 3 points more per game than the Knicks. The rebounds, we get more rebounds than the Bulls.
The key area tonight.
Yeah, very key. But they have been on a hot streak with assists. They've had games where they've had 35 assists a couple of times. So they're averaging a lot more assists than we are. 21.7 for us. They're 23.4. I hope we move that ball around. That's one thing, having Burks on the court now. I feel we had 27 assists last game. That is, we haven't had that many assists since the blowout against the Magic.
Yeah, that could almost be 2 games for us in the past.
Yeah. And the only other time we had 27 assists was the double overtime, which was game 1 of this season. So in terms of regulation game, this was the most assists that we've had since that Magic game, and that's a good sign. We got to keep that ball moving. Steals, the Bulls they're tremendous at steals. With Zach and Lonzo and Caruso and DeRozan. I mean, they have those long arms. They get out there. They're really great defenders, man. Blocks, we lead in blocks. Turnovers, about the same. We've actually done a decent job, even though the turnovers annoy the hell out of me, and a lot of times they come at the wrong moments, especially those third quarter turnovers. Those are the ones that bother me the most. But look, we're at 12.9, same as them. Field goal percentage, they're shooting very well. 47% for all-around field goal percentage is pretty high. We're down at 44%. The three-point percentage, they're up. They beat us there too, 37.1. We're at 36.5. The free throw percentage,
they're number 1 in the league.
They're number 1, yeah. They're number 1. I have some stuff from Cleaning the Glass, showing you guys comparisons, the 4 factors of the 2 teams with the whole league and everything. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Points in the paint. Chicago leads 40. They have 45.1. We have 43 points in the paint. But second chance points, we're ahead with that. So it almost balances out those 2. But when it comes down to fast break points, Chicago runs. They get out there. With guys like Lonzo and Levine. They just would inherently be a better fast break team. 14.1, and we're down at 11.3. But we're a little bit different team now. These stats are for the whole season. this squad that we've seen now since the Atlanta game is if that feels more like the Knicks from last season. And hopefully it's something that's replicable every single night. They actually have an identity. There's a cohesion on both ends of the floor for them. Yes, they still get hit with those droughts, which are devastating. But I'm feeling better about this in general. You guys have any thoughts about any of this stuff here?
I think just the last several games, you want to take from the good stuff you see. We saw the ball movement with the Suns, and the Bulls have like 5 guys on that team that's averaging 4 assists or higher. I rounded off Zach LaVine at 3.7, but you have Lonzo 4.8, Alex Caruso 4.2, DeRozan 4.2, Vucevic 4.1. So that's a really good model that you're not dependent on one player to get the assist. Everybody's moving the ball. So that's a really, really good thing. So the good thing is they're not much, like we said, on rebounding. They're not much on the blocking shots. So hopefully we'll be slashing tonight and maybe getting to the rim. Julius has had two good games in the first 2 games that he's played against them.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, what was he? 13 and 19, I think, in the last game against them.
I think he got 34 points or
34.
Points.
Yeah,
34.
And he shot 13 for 19 or something like that.
Yeah. He had one of his very best games of the season.
Yeah, 34 points,
13 for 19. Exactly,
5
man.
turnovers, though.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Hey, welcome to the chat. Welcome, Sco, Citizen X, Sam L, No None. I love that name. Severinks. Welcome, brother. All right, let's see. Go to the next slide here. Here are the leading players for the team. DeMar, 25.9 points per game he's averaging. Man, Julius is under 20 points a game. I have a feeling that's going to climb pretty soon. Rebounding, though, we got Julius is 10.1. That's great. DeMar's at 5.2. So DeMar gets more rebounds than Vooch.
Yeah, he's having a spectacular across the board season, man.
Yeah. And Randall leads in all 3 of the big categories. 5.1 assists. Lonzo's at 4.8. And in terms of blocks, Derrick Jones Jr. 0.78, and Mitch is at 1.5, which is kind of low for Mitch in general. I'm used to Mitch being the 2.4.
Right around 2,
yeah.
That's when he could jump.
Yeah.
When he was 30 pounds lighter, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, you know what? I think he needs a 7th agent, because anybody that didn't say to him, hey, this is a contract year. This is not the year to put on weight for you to get used to it. It may take a year for you to get used to it, man. I don't know who counseled him on that, but it was probably some of the worst advice I've seen in a long time in a contract year to put on weight after a foot surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I applaud the concept. It might not have been the right time to do it.
And not as much weight, you got to
or maybe not
inch yourself into those things. You got to add weight gradually. You can't just go and throw that much weight on in one off season while recovering from a major foot surgery.
Yeah, I wonder why did the doctors talk to him about it? His own foot doctors say, hey, maybe you shouldn't.
That's why we need to be at the media session so we can ask those questions.
Yeah, yes, we do. All right, here we go. We got so let's look at the Bulls' last 5 games and the Knicks' last 5 games. The Bulls have had some crazy scores here. They were destroyed by Indiana, 109-77. That was the game right after they played us. So I guess that's probably what it was. It was a back-to-back for them. But still, they only scored 77 points. And then they lost to they were kind enough to let the Houston Rockets snap their 15-game losing streak and gave them a win, 118-113. They let Houston score 118 points. Orlando, they beat them. They destroyed Orlando, 123-88. And we know Orlando Magic is somehow our nemesis now.
Kryptonite. Not even nemesis, our kryptonite.
Yeah. And then Miami, that was a close game loss. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know what the game flow was, whether Miami had the game in control the whole time and it just got close to the end. I don't know. But 107-104 looks like a tight game. And then Charlotte, they just destroyed that game. That's game. I think they got like 37 assists or something like that. They shot crazy percentages in that game. 133 to 119. And the Knicks, well, we lost that tight game to Chicago. Then we beat the Lakers. We lost to the Suns. That was a brutal one. And then that beautiful win on November 27th against Atlanta. That was such a great win. And in a lot of ways, I feel just as good about the loss to the Nets that I did about the win to the Hawks. But I think the win to the Hawks was more important psychologically for this team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get that W, especially after we dominated them last regular season, and then we all know what happened in the playoffs. So
it was so important that we changed up the lineup.
Exactly.
And we did it in their house.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me wonder, did Kimber really need to sit out that back-to-back, or was that Tibbs just trying something and that was his excuse to kind of justify Kimber not starting? That'd be an interesting question to ask.
Yeah.
If he'd give you the truth.
I wonder what we'd hear. I was especially since Rose wasn't playing in that Atlanta game. Like we could have, technically, we could have used Kemba, his minutes. But no, so that's interesting. It's a good point. All right, let's look at cleaning the glass. I got some stats here for us. So here, this is the season. These are the 4 factors. All right, so the columns on the left are the offense. Columns on the right are the defense. The main one here is the differential. That's how these are ordered. Chicago is 4th overall in the whole season in terms of points differential with a plus 5.1. Only Phoenix, Utah, and Golden State are better. But look how much better Utah and Golden State are. Utah's 11.8 and Golden State is 12.9. It's crazy. Yeah. Then the Knicks are down there as 16th with a plus 1.2. Now, one thing I want you guys to look at, though, is the field goal percentage defensively. So that is the 4th column from the right. You can't see my cursor, but you guys see that one there, the 4th column on the right, where Washington actually has the best field goal percentage, defensive field goal percentage. They're only allowing 49.5%. They're number 1. But look at the Knicks. The Knicks are 6th for the whole season with a 50.4. That's pretty good. That is a pretty good stat. Chicago is 14th. So that's right in the middle, 52%, right in the middle. But their offensive field goal percentage is 59.5 for 10th best. So they have, but they've been coming on pretty hot lately. They've been playing so well lately. Points per game, they're 7th, 111.8. So this, you can see the league averages are above. So the average team scores 108.7 points per game. So we're ahead in that in terms of we're 110.3. Now these stats remove garbage time, just so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So these are scrubbed. So these are actually truer stats than the general ones you see in NBA
Basketball Reference or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the beauty of these. That's why I really like showing these. You guys, any comments, any feeling? I don't know if I should have sent you guys this earlier, so you would have had time.
No, I was actually, we're both disciples of cleaning the glass, but yeah, exactly. And we've talked about the 4 factors that we think it's a pure stat on the field goal percentage on both offense and defense than some of the others. So yeah, I think we're on our way now that Kemba's not there, and I think our defense is going to really lock in, and if we could just have a healthy 5, things would change.
Yeah, you're talking about health, Foxy. I was mentioning that we're lucky to be where we are with the way the rotation's been in flux, especially with you guys, presenting the numbers and showing how we're still pretty competitive, and we're missing key pieces of our lineup almost every night. Tonight it may be RJ, some nights it's Noel, sometimes it's Mitch, sometimes it's Derrick Rose. So for us to still be at the position we're in right now, I think it's a major plus. Even though things have been rough, this team could have let go of the rope and been in a much worse position. And you see how difficult the Eastern Conference is so far. So, you know, the way we're performing, hopefully we can improve on some of these numbers a little bit. But I like where we are based on just what we've been able to do with so much adversity with this team.
I absolutely agree. Just to give you a little context here. So this is the full season. For the past 12 games, so almost about the half of the latter half of this season so far, Chicago's differential, they've dropped, they're 10th in the league. So they've slowed down actually. They've actually slowed down compared to their hot start, where they're 4th overall, but they're really 10th in the past 12 games for them, and they're 7-5 in those last 12 games, and their points differentials 3.2, where for the full season it's 5.1. The Knicks are 17th in the past. For them, it's the past 10 games or so, where the minus 2.5, which is what brought about the change. That's Thibs just finally couldn't handle it anymore, because at the 10-game mark is when he sent that warning shot, and he said, you know, when they say you need 10 games, you need 20 games, 30 games, 40 games, it's bullshit and all that stuff. So that's what he was looking at. Now, what I want to show you guys here is, this is just since Burks took over as the starting point guard. The Knicks are now 12th. Okay, it's only 2 games, but look at their differential, a plus 3.1. That's not, but look at the field goal percentage. They're only allowing 47.1% effective field goal percentage for 5th in the NBA. And offensively, they're 112.4 points per game, and their field goal percentage is 52.9%, which is similar to what they were before, but now the defense has tightened up. So that's what that cohesiveness, where they're not getting beat on one end so drastically, and then it makes them suffer on the other end. They're balanced now, which is nice. And the beauty that I love that I've seen in the past couple of games is now that first unit, kind of like what the second unit has done, first unit is now getting stringing stops in a row together. They're getting 3, 4 stops in a row here and there, and that's the key. Before, no. Sometimes you're like, my God, are they ever going to stop? If the only way they got to stop is just because a player missed an open look. So that's different. That's changed a lot.
Good news is Kobe White, a mini Terrence Ross, is not playing tonight because of COVID. Kind of frightening, man. Another fully vaccinated player testing positive for COVID.
Is that confirmed that he tested positive?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know he's in the protocol, but I never looked into see why exactly, whether it was a faulty test or a legitimate positive.
Yeah, because LeBron, apparently he's had like 2 or 3 tests and they all came back negative since the first one. So you can get some false positives.
Yeah, but George, just to mention the numbers, that's one of the reasons why I was okay with Alec Burks being inserted into that starting lineup, because I knew the defense was going to pick up. That's exactly what the eye test was telling me. These numbers confirm it. I mean, the offense is still trying to find its way out, but I keep saying, with our defense, with the way we play defense as a team, and with the new players that we brought in, even though Kimber didn't work out, we have Evan Fournier, we have Emmanuel quickly becoming a better scorer, a more potent scorer. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the best scorer for us in the fourth quarter. Did you guys see that on Twitter as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you know who tweeted it, could you give them a shout out? Because right now it's blanking for me.
I don't know who tweeted it.
It's unfortunate for them. I apologize. But
was that Fred Katz? I'm not sure.
Could have.
Or Tommy Beer.
One of the two. I wouldn't be shocked if it were one of those two. But with those new I won't say new offensive weapons, but with the improved offensive weapons, we're in position to win any game as long as we keep it tight and we allow ourselves to be within a fighting chance late in game. So the defense stepping up, I think, is the major impact of Alec Burks being inserted into that starting lineup. Yes, he's going off, these last few games, and he buckets. But there were moments where Kemba Walker, had offensive, uproars and was able to go out there and knock down a bunch of shots, and we still couldn't win. So I think the defense picking up has been important for us over the last 2 games, and hopefully we can go out tonight and continue with that defensive effort and be 2 wins and 1 loss in our last 3 games.
Definitely. One of the things, because we talked about this before too, is that Burks doesn't turn it over. And look at the turnover percentage. That's what percentage of the team's possessions end in a turnover. We now only 10.8%, which is good enough for 4th best in the entire NBA. And I mean, so when you're not turning the ball over,
good things happen.
Good things, exactly. So this is proof that Burks as the point guard was a good decision. Whether he's going to be the point guard long term, I don't know. To me, it's kind of crazy to think that a guy at the age of going to be 31 I don't think he probably hasn't played point guard since he was
the playoffs last year.
But I mean, like starting point guard. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of a wild experiment. But he's with Johnny Bryant was his guy in Utah when he first came in, and Johnny Bryant actually is one of the reasons why we have Burks on this team, because he told Leon last year, before the season last year, about Burks and his versatility and how he can handle the ball as well. So this might have been something that they've been working on for a long time, and now it's finally happening. It's paying off for the Knicks. Fortunately, just in time. I'm still surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised that Thibs did that.
Hey, he's 63. I think he has a time clock, man, that you can't do what he did with Peyton. Wait a whole year until making a decision. He had we touched on it. You touched on it. If you wait 20 games, then if you wait 30 games, you had to do something. I see one of our friends, Sco Six Tray, always putting gems on Twitter and in the chat. And he had a great one talking about Kemba a few weeks ago about his career winning percentage versus D Rose, and he foresaw what was going to happen. So shout out to you, Sco. That we love him and everything, but he's just too much of a liability, man.
Yeah, it's a bummer though.
Yeah,
I really wanted Kemba to succeed.
Yeah, it was like a storybook ending that he could, lead us at the twilight of his career, but didn't work out that way. And sometimes it doesn't. It's not all fairy tales end well.
Yeah, I was waiting for the parade through Soundview.
Let's see here. I'm going to put some. If you guys want to shout out anybody in the chat.
Only about 1,000 people. Other than that, I see all of our friends. So Frederick, as always, hope all is well with you and the family. Citizen X, our guy, hope all is well. Severinks, our guy Tricky Nicky, he's not feeling well, so hopefully he'll have some chicken soup, get some rest. Everybody send out some things for our guy Tricky that he feels better. Lex the Destroyer, I'll let you guys take some. The new Knicks, if you're not going to go, my guy Phil, I love you. Danny Landis. Danny Landis, a good friend.
Frederick, Pool Crack, Sam L. Burks is a placeholder. Yeah, he's a placeholder. But he's performing. That's all we need right now. We need somebody that can perform at that one position for us.
Right. Yeah, I know Thibs said that he's the guy right now. I mean, he's the guy. He's, for the foreseeable future. I mean, what else is he going to say? He can't say, well, we'll see, because then that undermines the confidence of Burke. So he's got to say, we're going with him. But we all know that at the end of the day, if the wheels come off this thing, he'll make a change again, because he doesn't have this is an experiment. And so it's easy to make a switch. So when we've talked about this before, for all we know, it ends up being that Rose ends up taking over the starting position. So we'll see. I have a feeling that the next 8 games are going to reveal a lot. And that takes us to when? I should have looked that part up because these 10 Thibs apparently likes to look at things in 10-game chunks.
Blocks.
Yeah. Which makes sense. So it makes sense. I mean, he waited 20 games to make this about 20 games to make this move. So
and George. Oh, go ahead, Foxy.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say real quick that what we touched on earlier is that Tibbs is really, versus in the past, and Dolan's been really cool. He's built up his whole analytics team. So I think a real part of the Kemba decision was because of the numbers, that he, it wasn't a gut anymore. The statistics just showed him like, this is the new game of basketball. I have a whole analytical team, and they're saying this guy in the court is poison. I love him, but can't go any further.
Yeah. Quis, what were you going to say?
You said that you were surprised. I mean, it surprised me too with the switch. But when you look at how the fans have reacted to the start of the season, you look at how some of the players are starting to get chirpy with Tibbs. You can see that there's a lot of pressure on this team, and Tibbs had to make a move in order to kind of release some of that pressure and reset the clock. And I think the Burks move, although it's an experiment, it's something that the fan base is familiar with, and I think it was the choice that it wasn't that unknown. We've seen Alec Burks play with that unit last season. We've seen him be able to perform. So with Tibbs, you're looking at somebody that really doesn't want to change. What change are you going to be willing to make? Something that you're a little bit more familiar with. And that Burks move, elevating him into the starting lineup, is probably something we should have guessed. I think we all did guess it in the pregame stream, I believe. Was it a pregame or was it on Sunday, me and you, Foxy?
I think I think both places actually.
Yeah. So we've been saying it time and time again. So it was something comfortable for Tibbs. Surprising he made it so soon, but in the same sense, it wasn't all that surprising that something had to be done.
All right, so we have some news. RJ and Nerlens are both out for tonight's game.
Oh,
yeah, along with Jericho Sims, who's also sick. He's out as well.
What? So everybody got the flu?
Yeah. Well, that's how,
that's what it seems like.
That's how it works. Yeah.
They all don't forget Tricky Nicky has the flu too. So now we got Tricky Nicky plus all of them.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's going to start?
That's what I was just about to ask you. We spoke about it last time. You said you thought Grimes was going to start, but we saw Grimes start the third quarter and Tibbs didn't look too happy. So what is Tibbs going to do now with the starting lineup? Who's he going to have starting out there with Alec Burks? Is it going to be Quick? Is it going to be Grimes? This, again, even though it didn't work in the second half against the Nets. Have they released the lineups yet or no?
They have not released the lineups as far as I know.
They wait too long to release the lineups.
Yeah, great question, Quis.
Yeah, the lineups are almost just 10 minutes before the game is usually what gets released now. It's not like in baseball.
Earlier. Yeah, right. Yeah. Baseball, they give it to you a couple hours before or something like that.
Shout out to SML. I wanted Sims time too tonight. I wanted Sims time to start coming in more and more.
Yeah, I know. That's a bummer. I did want him to play. I mean, for all we know,
especially you said who Nerlens was out as well. You said,
yeah, Nerlens out.
RJ Nerlens and wow. So Tibbs, not Tibbs. Taj is going to be asked to give us some pretty important minutes.
Yep.
He's going to have to step out to that perimeter if he's up against Vooch. Vooch can knock down that three.
If I'll put it out and I'll ask you guys if it were up to me, I would go with Obi, man.
I knew you were going there.
I would give Obi the start. Let's see it. And I just, why not? I mean, let's go for it.
The only thing is, you give Obi the start, that means he's going to have to guard either Lonzo, DeRozan, or Levine. And, that's going to be tricky.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he's got to learn. He's got to learn to do it. But who do you guys think? Foxy, who do you think might get the start?
Probably Grimes. Well, hopefully, he only, like you said, he only got a 2 minutes and change burn the other night, and he got the yank real quick. But I think maybe not going against the Nets, he'll have a little more leverage. And also, maybe he doesn't have any leverage with RJ and everything out that let him, you have to learn by sometimes getting those mistakes. And hopefully, he didn't play. It doesn't look like he makes a lot of mistakes, Grimes. So hopefully, he'll get it, and in that 3-ball, he'll be knocking down some 3 balls.
Yeah. He. I mean, that third quarter start. I know. It kind of feels like it was on Grimes. It wasn't. I mean, Grimes was he's just one guy. I don't even think he touched the ball, in those first 5 minutes or 3 minutes when he was in there. He just happened to be on the court when the team was,
Was at its worst.
Yeah, exactly was at its worst. So, so who do you think Quis might get the start, or who not who might, but who would you start?
Who would I start? Quick. I want Quick to see. I want to see what Quick can do up against another team starters from jump. I think Quick has earned some minutes, even though, I mean, he's not gonna. It'll be interesting. Like if we were to start Quick, who is really gonna get the majority of those point guards duties? Is it gonna still be Burks? Or are they gonna allow IQ to still feast off ball? But I think that would be an interesting dynamic if you have to make a move with no other options. Elevate Emmanuel quickly into the starting lineup. If I think Quick can run point for this team and be elevated into the starting lineup, I definitely think he can, be the 2 for us out there. We already seen him play solid defense, play good defense against James Harden, who's a bigger guard. So I think in a situation like this, where you're going up against a Bulls team that has 3 larger guards out there on the wing, IQ would be somebody that can step up and help. Now, Grimes is probably going to be the start because Tibbs, we all know, goes with what he's familiar with. But I think if he does go with Grimes, he's going to have a quick hook, and we may see a situation where Emmanuel quickly plays 30, 35 minutes. What did he play against the Nets? 37, 38, something?
37
like
and change. You're right on target. 37 and a half.
So I would for the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy workload for Quick without RJ in there. But we might see a little bit more. The Bulls aren't a great rebounding team, so maybe Tibbs has a little bit more faith with the small ball lineup, so that way we can get Obi some more minutes. But we have to get Obi minutes in this game. Without RJ, we need difference makers out there on the court, as many as possible. And we've seen Obi is a difference maker. Quickly is a difference maker. And Grimes is not at that level right now where he's a difference maker. He's just out there to play solid defense and knock down threes. So either way, you can see it working, but my preference would be more Quick, more Obi, and some inclusion or some sprinkles of Grimes with that second unit.
Cool. Yeah, I'd be happy with to see Quick out there too, to see him get the start. Honestly, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he got the start. I mean,
see, that would be more surprising than Burks getting this start if they decide to elevate Quick to the starting lineup, because Tibbs has been so stuck on keeping that second unit the way it is with Rose, Quick, Obi. That tandem has been, magical for us. So he really loves that rotation. If he were to elevate Quick, I want to see how that second unit plays without Quick, not without Quick, but without Quick coming or being a major focus on that squad. If we elevate Grimes.
Yeah. Exactly.
What are we going to see them look like?
Well, we do know that for D Rose penetrating, that Grimes, he'd be good at catch and shoot threes. He's good at that. So, but I'm like you said, Tibbs has always said from day one that he loves the chemistry of that second group, and that's why he started Kemba in the first place. Didn't want to mess with the second team. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it's nerve wracking because we keep going into games like who's in the starting lineup, who, we don't know all these things. The unknown's driving me crazy.
Yeah, me too. I would, I should set up a poll. I think it's going to probably most likely be Grimes.
Yeah.
Just so that he can keep the second unit the way it is. And, I mean, and most likely, and Grimes will be the first one who gets subbed out. Definitely. Or the other thing that could happen, but it kind of undermines. But these guys are professionals, and they played together all last season as well. He could start Rose and shift Burks over to RJ's spot. So that's another possibility.
Yeah,
this team is so deep. There's a lot of options.
Exactly, and I want to see more. I want to see more alternative. I want to see more experimentation in the rotation anyway. I want to see different lineups to see if we can find different formulas, because I think this kind of attitude of, well, we have the first unit does this and the second unit does that, and then, okay, that's it. No, every night is a different opponent who have different skill sets. Some teams are better rebounders. Some teams are, better in transition. So we can't keep putting out the same exact lineups every single. I mean, starting
You have
is
to
one.
adapt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, starting is one thing. I'm not saying different starting lineups. I'm saying use in-game adjustments. You know, maybe OB is the first one that comes off the bench. You know, like that kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting. I so hyped for this game, man. It's going to be fascinating.
Hey, did you get our
Force
guy
to win,
Citizen
man.
X's super chat?
Oh yes, thank you, Citizen X. I really appreciate it. We appreciate your support. Great hoops insight as usual. Awesome. We try to bring our A game every single time. Really appreciate that. There was another.
you,
Any
Citizen
other
X.
comments that you guys saw that looked really interesting? Ray
Citizen
Rivera
X
totally
was saying-
disagrees with me. He says OB at the 3 is a huge mistake. The guy barely plays defense at his position. To ask him to guard threes. All right. Let's see. Boring Boy Wonder. That's a great name. Should start Rose now since he is starting in playoffs anyway.
Well, he's the closer.
He is
This
the
might
closer.
not be the opener.
And we have to minutes manage him, folks.
Yeah. Oh, hey, salute, Sincere to Genius.
He's great. I love Sincere to Genius.
OB
yeah.
isn't that bad on defense. His defense has improved, but guarding
Not
threes
again. Not
is not
threes
easy.
a whole different animal. Yeah.
Threes are
Yep.
guarding fours is a different animal than guarding threes for sure. But he has his
Especially when
defense
you
has improved.
especially when you have to pick up for Evan Fournier on defense as well. So once you throw that into the situation or into the scenario, things get a little bit murky.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great if Obi could start, taking that responsibility and going out there and guarding guys on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Fournier hit
Go.
that big shot the other night. God bless him, but he didn't have an assist. He
I
didn't
knew
have
he
a
was gonna hit
rebound. Yeah.
You knew you could just it was first of all it was a
Harden made a
ran
bad
beautiful play,
move on
great screen.
defense.
Yeah, his defense, but great screen. I don't know. I forgot who set the screen for him. So he had a nice clean, went around, caught it, perfect pass. Remember we talked about that. The passes were in pockets.
Burks was the inbounder, I believe, right? Or if I'm not mistaken.
Burks. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Even though I watched the play like 10 times.
I know. I'm going through the database.
Sco says quickly starting, no ball movement, and no quickly getting hot because he's facilitating. I think Sco's referring to Quick as the point guard starting because definitely he moves the ball. So let's see here. What else we got?
Where you're looking, everyone, if you haven't hit that like button, please hit smash that like button. Do me a favor, you haven't subscribed into the Knicks-Verse, please hit that subscribe button. Phenomenal content. Please hit that reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the great content from George. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms.
You guys got to see the comment from Frederick because I'm sitting here in the moment. He says, it was going to Evan. He was stretching heavy before the inbound, and I'm watching the game, and I'm watching him pull his knees up. I'm like, wow, Evan's getting old out there. Stretching before the play, and then boom, went right to him, and he knocked it down. So hey, he knew what he was doing. Had to get
you know what? To be truthful,
it was nothing but net.
Yeah, I was hoping he hit that 40-foot heave at the end because everything that he's going through not playing D, man, he would erase some of that stuff if we beat the Nets on a last-second shot for him. But, folks, the thing that we talked about that pissed me off is that who the hell in the booth told Tibbs to contest that call when you saw that, oh, no, there's the foul. And it's like instead of us having a timeout, we didn't have that timeout, so we had to go full court for that heave. We would have had 2.2 seconds if we had that timeout.
Sorry, Foxy, to cut you off, but we have the news.
Uh-oh.
Knicks announced Emmanuel Quickly is starting tonight.
Yo,
boy, guess correctly.
I got my birthday wish.
The birthday boy.
Yeah. Sco Six Trey is happy. Oh, maybe not. So does that mean Burks is at the 3?
How did that change anything?
No, he's at the 2. So Burks is starting at point guard, and Quick is at the 2.
Quick is starting for RJ.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that means Grimes may be the 2 on the second team with DeRozan.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see how that starting unit operates to come out in the game because who's going to take primary ball handling duties? Is it still going to be Burks, or will he defer a little bit to Quick? I don't see him deferring. You know how Burks is when he has the ball in his hand, and he's had a couple good games. So I like to see how the dynamic is out there.
I think IQ is going to be out there as a shooting guard.
Yeah, but he may pick up Lonzo somebody because he's the only guy that picks up people full court. So he may be the guy that does it.
Happy birthday!
So let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Quis. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
All right. And he guessed correctly who would be, or he didn't guess it. It's who he wanted, who he would start, and that's what Thibs must have heard us.
Yeah. You know they watch.
Yep, they do watch. They do watch. All right. That took a lot of technical know-how to make that gift.
I'm pretty sure.
Show off. That's almost as good as your head on the turkey the other day.
Oh man.
Also, I want to say shout out to the chat too. A few people had said happy birthday, but we were into the conversation and I couldn't really say anything. So chat, thank you guys for the happy birthday wishes. Also, thank you guys for inviting me up here and having this conversation with me during my birthday. Last year, I had a solo stream and, that was solid, but I love being here with you guys, chopping it up on my birthday, and hopefully the Knicks can get a victory. Make us all happy.
We appreciate you, man. Much love.
Rick,
happy 54th.
You got a little bit of time before you get there.
Yeah, I got a little bit. I'll be close to retirement if I'm at 54.
Hey,
counting the days.
They'll beat me. Actually,
I won't even be here. There'll be flowers on my grave.
Oh, you'll be here till you're 150, Foxy.
Who the hell wants that?
Hey, my grandmother, who was born during the first pandemic, not the very first pandemic, but the Spanish flu.
Spanish flu,
yeah. She's going to be 104 years old.
Wow! Oh, wait, God bless her.
Yeah, she's going to be
Spanish
104.
Flu was what? 1912, 1918. When was the Spanish
1918.
Flu? Yeah, there we go.
1917, actually. 1917 was when it started. But yeah, and she's still,
Any secrets?
Yes, walk a lot. The woman never drove; she walked everywhere, and she used to live in D.C. and she worked for the American Indian like association or whatever. And she public transportation, walked everywhere. Amazing lady, always very well dressed, impeccable, and everything. Just cranky. She was definitely tough. She was a tough lady in her day.
Tough times back then.
Oh yeah. She's an amazing person. I mean, now it's she's chilling now.
That whole generation, man. We're all wusses. My dad, they went to 4 years of war, World War II.
Yeah.
It's a horrific thing. Yeah. We cry with a loaf of bread under our arm.
That's totally right, man. All right. Well, you guys have any final thoughts or anything? Because
that news has me hype. I want to see how Quick looks. Because hey, if Quick steps up, it's going to start a conversation. Should Quick have a little bit more of a look when it comes to performing in the starting lineup if a change has to be made?
Yes. I have a take on all this. Foxy, if you want to go first.
Oh, you might get your wish, George. Actually, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, we want to hear George.
Into the video you dropped.
Yeah, I've been telling, and the three of us talked about this before already. I think even though Thibs announced, I don't know when it was, yesterday or today, that Burks is the permanent starting point guard, but that's because we already said he kind of has to say that. He can't undermine it. But I really think this is I've been thinking about this a lot, because especially when we've talked about this a lot, what was the thinking behind the point guard situation in general? When they decided that they weren't going to have a chance at Lonzo, and now we know there was tampering and all that jazz. So, and Leon's no exec is more tapped in to the world of agents and players and development than Leon Rose. This guy ran the sports agency for CAA. So he knows everything. So he knew that we weren't going to have a chance at Lonzo. And other than Lonzo, there was really no legitimate young point guard available during the summer.
Right.
And then, and then they thought about Schroeder, who probably would not be so bad in terms of a Thibodeau structure. And then remember they talked about Reggie Jackson, but that was never going to be, that was never going to happen. Really, the options were very limited. And we already had Rose. We didn't have him at the moment, but then we re-signed him. And when they signed him, they were like, oh, he's not going to be the starting point guard. So it was like, okay, well then who is? And then, in the 11th hour, Kemba gets bought out by OKC. And then immediately we bring him in and we make a big deal. Hullabaloo. So there's either a couple of things that are happening. They looked at, Leon might have known all along that Kemba, this was going to play out. This was going to happen because execs talk. They're like, hey, they probably say, hey, can you offer us anything for Kemba? I said, no, the salary. Blah, blah. I said, all right, well, we'll cut him. Blah, blah, blah. And that's how it worked out. So we got him. But I don't think that that's really the end game here. I think it's a two-pronged end game. Either we are waiting for that next disgruntled star who can play point, like Dame Lillard, to make that move. And in the interim, they might be grooming IQ to end up being the starting point guard for the New York Knicks. Because when you look around this league, other than like guys like SGA and De'Aaron Fox, who else is available that's young, that's going to be a top 10 type of point guard? There's no one out there unless we get lucky in the draft, or there's some crazy 3-team trade, or someone forces a trade, a star. But there aren't that many. Yeah. And we weren't going to get CP3 because he chose the Suns. Mike Conley, Brogdon, Malcolm Brogdon.
They're trying to get Brogdon off ball, even in over there in Indy.
Yeah.
He actually had a good game yesterday. So in that thinking, to support that point of view, look how they treated IQ during the summer league. They gave him the reins. They said, "Go do this," and I think it was so important for IQ to run the team from a point guard perspective that he let his it impacted his shooting back then, because he was really focused. Remember, they kept saying he's working on certain things. And we've talked about this too.
Right after the game, Tibbs would talk to him immediately.
They have they like these intense conversations around the court where no one else was around them. He was teaching them. I think they're grooming IQ to be the eventual starting point guard for the New York Knicks if a major point guard star doesn't present himself. That's my feeling about that. What do you guys think?
I think you brought up also a great point the other day that the NBA did not create a deterrent by having a second round draft choice as a penalty. People like, I'm going to start tampering more often, man. If that's all that's going to cost me is a second round pick.
We got so many.
We have 423 of them. So it's like, let's start tampering. Let's start having early talks, because if that's the penalty, we got plenty of second round picks. So when I saw that, and George is the one that brought it up, that was a fantastic point. Boy, the NBA misses a lot, makes a lot of bad moves. The NBA office.
That was a bad precedent to set.
Terrible.
Real bad. Originally, I was talking about 10 mil when they first dropped the news. What was it? Months ago, when they had the initial investigation and for it to only be a second round pick. Man, Leon Rose is connected. Start the tampering. Get World Wide West on the phones. Let's do this.
And I said this a few weeks ago on the Sunday show, and I did not say trade, but folks, if John Wall is bought out, don't forget about that Kentucky connection. We're not going to take on that contract, but if there's no contract to take on, everything changes. So do not be surprised if something happens in the next few weeks and he's bought out. Something may happen here.
But he would be a similar type of thing to the way Kemba. Like we brought Kemba here.
But he's at another level. He still has a lot more game than Kemba. He's still coming back from Canada.
Yeah, I mean in terms of the eventual the grooming of
Oh, no
IQ.
doubt.
Like
You're
I
100%.
think
It's a
grooming IQ.
stopgap. Yep.
Like,
we don't.
like Samuel did write this earlier. I did read it, Sam. I'm sorry. I did read it. And
I think I read it too.
Yeah.
Well, at least I've read the first sentence. Burks is a placeholder out loud.
Yeah. Now, there's been a lot of debate. A lot of people are like, are just flat out, IQ's not a starting point guard. They're just, that's their take on it. That's their feeling about it. And like nothing's going to move them off that until he becomes a starting point guard and proves it. So, and I totally respect that point of view because, sometimes he has been a little shaky as the lead guard. But lately, I would say for at least like about 15 games or so, IQ has been really, I mean, his ability to find Obi, to find even Mitch when he's on the court, even Stone hands he's set up once or twice. He had a great pass.
I thought Roberto Duran was playing for a second on the team.
No must.
Hands of stone.
Yeah. Oh, there was one possession. I think it was in the fourth quarter when the Knicks were making that run. IQ was the lead guard at that moment. Burks was on the court. IQ was playing with Burks. They were on the left side. And I believe Obi. Okay, that's what happened. Burks passed it to Obi. Then Obi passed it back to Burks. Then Burks gave it to IQ. Then IQ was dribbling around. He tried to penetrate into the paint, and he did get past his guy, but there was another defender coming, and he made an awesome pass to Burks, who was running in from the corner. And Burks went in and made that layup. Remember that crazy layup off the glass, and Burks fell down on his back. They didn't call a penalty. But that was a huge bucket. IQ's vision on that play, that is top level point guard vision. Whether
you just have to be patient. It's a process, folks. It takes years to become a great point guard in this league, and we've seen leaps and bounds. Like you said, him seeing the game, it's slowing down for him, and he's also getting chemistry. You have to be on the. So, like you said, I love the chemistry with him and Obi. I love, he's making some really beautiful passes, and I only see him getting better in that position.
Yeah, man. I believe in IQ. I believe in IQ. We'll see, but he'll have to prove it. He'll have to prove it, man.
But he's lucky, so does Tibbs. And that's the first thing you got to do. So if Tibbs believes in you, you're going to get some burn to show your game.
Yeah. I'm not excited about the John Wall thing if he becomes available, but they should look at it.
No trade. That's why I said not a trade, but if he's bought out, he's still lightning fast.
The reason he's not playing with Houston is because he's coming off as a me first guy. At least that's what the reports are saying. So that kind of player in the locker room, I'm not sure how it'll fly. We have a lot of players that have to make sacrifices on this team, and I don't think John Wall has shown us that he's willing to take those sacrifices to help us get to where we need as a ball club. That's my biggest concern with John Wall. If there's no money, he still seems like he has talent out there. What did he average last season? Almost like 20-7 in the few games he returned. But is he going to be someone that's going to buy into this culture? And we already see players are starting to butt heads with Tibbs. Do we want to add another player like John Wall who can be kind of headstrong into this environment, into this situation, where he can kind of derail us?
Rest your case, counselor. You won. You're 100% right. All right. Scratch my remarks about John Wall, folks. Quis is 100% right. It is not a good match.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for some speed on this team.
Before we only got a few minutes before the start. Let's in our buddy Sco.
Can I shout out a comment real quick, George?
Yeah, go for it.
I want to shout out Ray Rivera. He's saying, I watch Knicks Fan TV, found you guys through JD, subscribed, and it's been great content. Thank you, Ray. Shout out to JD. I think he's also a fellow Sag. So when the next time you guys see JD on camera, make sure you give him a belated birthday.
It was his birthday
as well.
A week and a half ago or something.
So you want to sing happy birthday to him?
He was going to join us today, JD, but he had some. He couldn't. The schedule didn't work out So, but hopefully next time. That'd be fun
Yeah.
to get all 4 of us on here. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
syndicate
no doubt.
all together. Love you, JD.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Hardwell. Hope all is well with you and your family.
Shout out. Yes. Shout out to Sincere to Genius. Boring Boy Wonder. I love that name. East Blue Drew. Welcome.
Did you see his comment though? No one more headstrong than Tibbs. Tibbs will throw some hands.
Totally.
Our guy Canal Bam Lawyer. How are you, Canal?
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about trades, the trade season. Okay, because it's coming up December 15th.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I specifically haven't even talked about it at all is because, for one, I wanted to see 20 games. I also there was no point to talk about it because there was no rumors about anyone really available, because no one can get traded before December. No free agents that are signed can get traded before December 15th. And I believe that's also the case with draft picks, right? Like, we couldn't trade Grimes until December 15th, right?
I'm not
Correct.
sure the exact date. Was it the 15th?
Yeah.
It may not be the exact date, but it's around there. It could be the exact date. Either way, it wasn't possible. But we're getting close. You know, it's December 2nd. We're only 13 days away from it. And you see, we're like tonight, no Nerlens, no RJ, no Jericho. So we're going to be shorthanded. Yeah, I know we're a deep team, but what kind of potential moves do you think the Knicks might be looking at, other than like the big blockbuster move, but maybe like little tweak moves here and there, or anything? I don't know. What are your feelings in terms of any kind of trade activity for the Knicks?
What
Want
they
to take a
need to
Quis?
do is,
Yeah.
What they need to do
Birthday
is target
boy
a
goes
wing
first.
with size.
Exactly.
That's the first. That's number one. You know,
What was
If
that?
there's
Repeat.
no point
I
guard
talked over you.
a wing with some size, some length that can be a 3-and-D option. I think when you look at Evan Fournier, he's not really performing for us as consistently as we would like. So if we were able to get another option out there, maybe that pushes Evan Fournier to perform a little bit better. Or now we have somebody that we can insert into that lineup that can kind of take off some of the load from RJ Barrett, who out there is having to guard, bigger defenders. We have that 3-and-D wing. We can slot RJ where he needs to be at the 2. And I feel like we have Quick that can handle point guard duties. Hopefully he will be able to do some of that tonight against the Bulls. So I think that would be who I would target if I had to go and try and get somebody out there on the open market.
Okay.
Because I don't think we're going to find a point guard that's really going to answer all our concerns in this, environment right now. There's not really anybody available. And anybody that is available, then you're talking about cutting into, players like RJ Barrett or Obi and having to ship them out of town. And I don't think we're at that moment where we should start discussing those type of moves.
Okay. Foxy?
I agree with Quis that if we can get a defensive 3, a long defensive 3, that'd go away, and also maybe a 5. Our guys are we have a kid in Sims and 2 injury prone vets. I'll call Mitch a vet by now, 3 years. So maybe it's something we need to look at there, or at least a backup 4 that can play some 5. Because like you just said, Obi's the only guy for Randall. If a 4 goes down, unless you want to break the Kevin Knox glass in case of emergency,
I
do
forgot
that.
about Kevin Knox.
You and the rest you and about 4 million other New Yorkers.
He's not going to see the court. That's why you forgot about him.
Yeah.
When was the last time he played? The Suns game when we got blown out?
Yeah, he played the Suns game.
Well, he had that dunk a couple of weeks ago that our guy Hoodie Kev somewhere, if you're hearing Hoodie Kev, hello.
Salute to Hoodie Kev.
Put a smile on Hoodie Kev, but that was the last sighting of Kevin Knox.
Nice by Wayne Samanik. He's been killing.
He has been.
He could be an option. He can guard perimeter players. He can play the 3.
I don't know. I was watching the G League's hard to thing, but he has an offensive game, but I don't know on the defensive side if Tibbs would like him much.
you think Fournier's better defensively?
No, you're right. He's so
it's not a high bar that we have to improve upon.
He's
a
a 4.
He's a 4, almost a stretch 5, right?
Correct. Yeah. He is.
So he might be an interesting. He might be interesting to have, to give, for 10 minutes.
Yeah, spacing, man. Let our guys bring that big man out. Let our guys cut to the basket without all that congestion.
Yeah. And by the way, we're not talking about like trading anyone specific. There's certain ways we can structure deals where we're not going to give anybody give up anybody from the rotation at the moment. We have guys that are.
Oh, you mean fringe pieces?
Yeah,
fringe pieces and things like that,
and all those second round picks.
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about making a big move and trading
blockbusters.
Yeah, not like that at all.
You did mention that at the start, though.
Yeah. I just wanted to repeat it because some people join later after we start. So, Sincere to Genius. I think we got Reddish. RJ gonna ball out.
Another guy.
Yeah, I would not mind Reddish at all.
Me either, man. Oof. And I don't think neither would RJ. He's got a homeboy.
Yeah.
Duke boy.
Yeah, I wanted Cam around draft time. They said that they might have been dangling him because they have too many wings over there in Atlanta. So if we are able to get him, for relatively cheap, I'm all for it. He fits exactly the 3-and-D mold.
Then DeAndre Hunter got hurt.
Yeah, he's always hurt. I love that guy's game.
Did I ever tell you guys that I ran into him during the playoff series?
Off camera.
Yeah, I told you off camera.
Oh,
yeah. It was yes. So actually, the series had already ended. They were playing. They were playing the Bucks. The Nets were. Went down to Marina del Rey. Great seafood place. My brother and my son took me, and we're just walking around the marina, looking at boats. And out of I think it was the Ritz Carlton or something. The door opens up right onto the walkway there, and we look at each other and look at him, and I was like, Hunter, and you go, yeah, man. I was like, hey, and we talked for a little bit. Yeah, he was rehabbing. He was rehabbing in LA, but look, he got hurt again. The guy's injury prone, man.
Yeah, his wrist, but he's a very good defensive player. Good three. Excellent. I wish he could. Yeah, if that kid could stay healthy, man.
Yeah,
he's a winner.
One thing about
college.
RJ, though, he's available.
Yep, he's durable.
Absolutely.
Even though he's missed the last 2 games, or at least
that don't count. That type of
cold.
Yeah. That.
I feel like I jinxed him though, George, because right after I mentioned that he had the illness and now he's missing the game, I'm like, damn.
Yeah. The minute you said, you know what? The minute you totally jinxed him. Who said he was hung? Someone's tweeted out he was hungover, but no, apparently it wasn't a hangover. It was actually a real cold, real sickness. What do you guys think about this comment from Sincere to Genius? Kevin Knox and a pick or 2.
Yeah, that was a trade package last season.
There's no value on next, meaning Cam's come on. His game has elevated 3-point shooting and stuff. Maybe a year ago we could have done it with Kevin, but Kevin has zero value, man.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to rob the Hawks, we might be able to offer that to them, but we probably have to give up a future first on top of that. Just
give them the Charlotte pick we gave up this year. That's not good, 18th, 19th pick.
We are giving them Charlotte's pick. Add Kemba Walker, and tell them, there you go, have fun.
Hey, right now we're poised to get the Charlotte pick for this draft because they're doing so well.
What do you mean? I thought
they don't get it if it's if the pick falls 18 or lower.
Yeah,
we don't get it. 18th or higher, I guess technically is what it is. So
exactly.
So the worse the Hornets are, the
less
likely that we get the pick. So if they stay around a 500, 520 type team, we'll probably end up getting that pick.
Yeah, you see the stats on Melo, the last 12 assists. Kid is
Melo?
Yeah. You see with Giannis yesterday, giving a jersey switch at the end of the game, man. He's lighting it up, the kid, man. God bless him.
The best
I see Melo stats every single game.
Yeah,
he can't. He's not efficient from the field though. He's always shooting 37%, 32%. I'm like, golly, bro,
doesn't play defense,
and he's fearless.
He gets steals.
Yeah, man, he's dynamic at getting to the hoop. He gets steals. He's a kid. Still, imagine when he finally learns tendencies and positions on the floor, how to actually play. NBA, big man defense, like the real man defense. He's gonna be. He's
Is
gonna
there
be.
anybody in Charlotte to teach him? No, that's another question.
That's another. Yeah.
Do they have the right coaching and development staff?
Well, I think there's somebody that owns it may help him out a little.
I don't know, because he can't. He can't assess talent. Look at the people who he drafted over his
Word.
time. You know, so
Word.
I don't know. His talent doesn't rub off on people unless he's on the court with you.
Yes, let's get those thumbs ups, please. I would really appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel or Quis's channel, please do so. We put out a lot of content. We try to do our best, give you our best analysis, and I love doing this. I'm so glad I started doing this a year ago. I wasn't. I was watching CP and Jay Ellis and Sims and Ron and stuff, and I was like, this is cool. I'll do it. And like an idiot, I just turned on the camera and started talking, and it's worked out. And I really appreciate all the support, and it's been a blast. And I love this team, man. That's why I'm so excited about this move with Burks, because it's the team that I loved, that the team from last season that stunned the NBA world. That's the kind of team that we're seeing right now again, and I'm really happy about that. And it definitely coincided with Rose coming to this team. It helps solidify it. I put out that video. Does Derrick Rose make everyone better? and it's a fact. I mean, the data's there. It still holds true. It was actually one of my very first videos that I did, and it still holds true. And now it's looking like IQ is becoming very similar type of player. In fact, IQ. Here's the stat that I looked up actually when I was talking to Macri about this, because I've been looking at what other
There
point
goes
guards
George name dropping when I was talking to Macri.
Yeah,
heard the big shot.
Yeah, a little big name drop.
Yeah, the problem is it's Vinny Macri.
It's the guy who works at the deli.
Exactly.
And Vinny said. So when you look at an NBA stats, I was scrubbing through the stats and I was looking, okay, well, who are the best young point guards or guards in general right now that are under 26 years of age? And when you look at it, number one in terms of net rating was Garrison Matthews. Also, they also had to play more than 15 minutes a game. That's the other thing. Under 26 plays more than 15 minutes per game, averages. Garrison Matthews was number one, he's actually a really good shooter. He's actually being wasted in Houston. Number two was Donovan Mitchell with like a 12.6 something net rating differential. Guess who number three was? Above Booker, above other big name guys. Guess who was the third best net rating guard under 26 in the entire NBA? Emmanuel
Quickly, because I watched the video.
Yeah, I was going to say, here comes the quick. Yeah.
Who, Quick?
Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got it right. Lit.
Yep. So you're on. Yeah.
Birthday.
You should put some money down today. You should go get the app out.
Give me some numbers.
Yeah. Hey, quick shout out to a couple of real quick friends, Paris Duggar, Knicks 100 GM, and Quiet Money. Didn't want to forget you guys. Hope all is well.
Thank you, man.
Also want to give a shout out to Knicks 100 a game as well. He did a nice visual for me on Twitter for my birthday, so appreciate
that.
He
did. Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That was really cool.
Especially the resemblance.
Oh, man.
All right. So
well, we're here. Game's about to start. We're going to wrap this up. Really appreciate everybody watching and all your comments. They're awesome. Stay tuned. Saturday, not sure if I'll be able to do a pregame. I may have another commitment. But we'll be jumping on it. We'll be doing it the next game. If not, we don't do it on Saturday. But either way, check out the post games. Be dropping those. And Quis and Foxy always got to catch their Sunday show. It's a must watch.
8 o'clock.
Must watch. 8 o'clock every single Sunday. They chop it about everything that's going on in the Knicks world. And it's fascinating. It's a must see. Never miss it. And please, your thumbs ups and subscribe. And that's it. Anything else, you guys?
No, that's it. That was great, George.
Awesome. And happy birthday, Quis.
Happy
Appreciate
birthday,
it.
Quis.
Happy birthday. All right, we're gonna win today. We're gonna
Facts.
win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win by like 9.
I didn't
Number
say
9. Number 9.
that. I'm with you on the win. I don't know about 9 points.
I don't know what kind of 9. We'll see. It could be 129 or 120. But yeah, actually, they allow a lot of points. Also, depending on if you're a good 3-point shooting team, they do give up a lot of 3-point shots.
And we're due for a good 3-point shooting game.
Which now that I think about it, makes sense why he started IQ. I mean, technically IQ is still really our deepest 3-ball threat.
Logo deep.
They got the 4-point line in the practice facility for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, shout out to D Nice. Thank you, brother. Much love to you, man. Much love to everyone. Much love to everyone in the chat. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, we're going to end the broadcast now. And we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.